Yes. So we have this non-food crops, or other non-food plantation which are not edible. Edible is which we can't eat, or which we should not eat. Now don't go to eat a rubber tree. Okay, it's not good for it. It's not chewing gum. Now I want to chew gum. I want to go and chew the rubber tree leaf. Okay, save money. I'll not go in for what's that chewing gum which we have in the market. I forget the name. Big Bubble and uh, what all we have. Chewing gums, Center Fresh and all that. Oh, I don't want to have money. I want to chew this rubber. My rubber is there in my class. I want to chew that. I have a rubber band. I want. No, 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 no. Don't do it. My mother used to tell me if I have too much of chewing gum, I have to chew a lot of chewing gum because I have to do running a lot in my hostel days. So when I have to come home, I have to continue practicing my running. 3 kilometers in the college we had to run in the hills. So I used to practice in the Tarai region, in the ground part of our Bengal. So running on a plain land and running on a hill is quite different. So I have to take 25 minutes max to max 22 to 25 minutes. 3 kilometers I used to finish running on the hills. And here in Bengal, 3 kilometers was 14 minutes or 20 minutes, something like that. 14 or 18 minutes, something like that. Oh, that was long time ago. Long time ago, 84, 85, 86. Oh, I was very fit, fine that time. So, my mother used to say if you chew too much of chewing gum, that was the main reason I told you this. It's going to go inside your stomach and get entangled with your intestine, and then you'll die. So I stopped eating that. I was a fool also at that time. Anyways, so non-food crops is rubber. It's an equatorial crop, but under special conditions. It is also grown in tropical and subtropical areas. Now requires moist and humid climate again, with rainfall of more than 200 centimeters and temperatures above 25 degrees centigrade. It's an important industrial raw material. In the industry, we need a lot of that raw material rubber. It is mainly grown in India, that is in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka and the Andamans, and Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Garo Hills of Meghalaya. Like Meghalaya, I've heard a lot about it, but I have never been. I have seen rubber plants, but I have never seen a actual rubber forest because Garo Hills was very close to Assam side, and I could have gone, but I have never been to Meghalaya. So that's another which I missed out. India ranks 5th among the world's natural rubber producers. They cut the plant or something and that rubber comes out, they accumulate, like we have that tadi or something which you have on these coconut trees or these date palm trees, they take out the juice. Like that, something comes out from the rubber tree also. They cut it, split it, and it comes and it gets accumulated in buckets, and that has been given to as a raw material to the factories. That is again refabricated and produced. Cotton, England, British, colonial. Cotton. India is believed to be the original home of the cotton plant. Britishers became rich because of this cotton and indigo. Cotton is one of the main raw materials for cotton textile industry. India is the third largest producer of cotton in the world. Cotton is grown in drier parts of the black cotton soil. We have done that soil of the Deccan Plateau. It requires high temperature, light rainfall, (210) frost-free days and bright summer sunshine for its growth. Again, it's a kharif crop and requires 6 to 8 months to mature. Major crop producing states are Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Punjab, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh. Remember Gujarat, British time, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Gandhiji went to talk with this cotton plantation people. Civil disobedience. Cotton was played a major part in India. Still now, Indian clothes which we wear, cotton, it's just fabulous, fantastic. Foreigners crave for cotton, even Levi's, the Levi's jeans of the American brand which is there. See, I'll tell you one thing. It's only the thread also comes from America. The buttons also come from America. The dye also is happening from America and coming into Bangalore. It is stitched only in Bangalore for Indians. But some Levi's, the ones which Americans wear, the American designs, the American fashion does not come into the third world country. It takes time to come. Like Mumbai fashion, if it's today they are wearing a torn jeans, that will come into the metropolitan, or it will go to the metropolitans first. After that, it will come to the sub cities, then sub states, and then cities. So by the time a fashion from Mumbai coming into suppose in my city, Durgapur, first is going to come to Calcutta, Mumbai, and everywhere. So by the time it comes into my city area market, or even if that Big Bazaar also wants to bring that, it's going to take time, at least 6 months time to come down to that place. Today if you go and buy clothes in Mumbai on the street and you come and wear it here, people will say, oh wow, what great. But once it hits the street of Kolkata, that clothes come into Bihar also as well, because Bihar goes and picks up all garments from Calcutta. Mostly daily use garments, fashion garments are coming in from Kolkata, Haryana, Chandigarh. Okay, this is how it happens. Cotton. Here a cotton t-shirt will cost you, I don't know, maybe 200, 300, 400. We go on to Amazon, we go on to all these sites. But if you go to Calcutta and Kerala and Madras also, on the streets you will get t-shirts for 60 rupees, 40 rupees, 80 rupees. In the night time if you go, they will get 3 for 60 rupees. And thin cotton, very cheap. Just wear it and you won't feel anything on your body. Wear it for a month, 1 month. If you spend 60 rupees, what's the harm? If you can take good care of it, take it for 2 months. 60 rupees to you, that's 30 rupees. 2 months you crossed. So cotton is so comfortable. You can wash, wear, do whatever. It feels cool on your body and everything is great. Cotton, cotton, cotton. That's Indian cotton. Then comes the jute. It's known as the fiber crop, or rather it's called the golden fiber. Jute, very important thing. It grows on well-drained fertile soils in the flood plains, where soils are renewed every year, because water comes, washes it away, water keeps on going. High temperature is required during the time of growth. Again, Bihar, West Bengal, Assam, Odisha, Meghalaya, major jute producing states. Now this got divided between us, India, Bengal then, and Bangladesh, East Pakistan. So half of the jute, major part of the jute went into that place. It is used for making gunny bags, mats, ropes, yarns, carpets and other artifacts. Due to its high cost, it's losing market to synthetic fibers and packing materials, because it's very costly. Jute is not, but particularly after the nylon came into the market, this jute has gone down a bit. But jute is jute. It's so strong. Okay? So we are done till there. Horticultural crops we talked about. Okay. Non-food crops we did. Fiber crops is jute, cotton, as I said, golden fiber. So only the reading is left. What I'm going to do is, I will technology and institutional reforms, we'll do it in the next class. I want to take it slow. And then we have the Bhudan Gramdan of Mahatma Gandhi, the contribution of agriculture to the national economy, employment and output. Okay, so that also we will do, impact of globalization on agriculture. It's a vast chapter, so it's going to take time. So, but I guess another part of the class I'll take it through. So today what I'm going to do is, we have done this part. I'll just read through for helping you out in the book, and if you have your book right now in front of you, it will be really awesome and great. So I'll start reading from pulses, right? Pulses we have done. I'll start reading from food crops other than the grains. Okay, so I'll come back in the next video if it's okay with you, and I'll take it from there.